Welcome to Ouch. Was that a ghost? This podcast may contain graphic material, which some listeners may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
Help me.
Now that we covered that, here's your host, Liss.
Welcome back to Ouch, Was That a Ghost? Today I have with me the fantastic Joe from the Film Joe podcast and his new podcast, Fear on Film. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. It's great to be back. I believe this is my sixth time on your show now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, happy 6th.
Yeah, here we go. It's a sixth episode anniversary, everyone. So it's great to be back. Thank you for having me on.
Anytime, my alien expert.
Well, let's just say obsessive alien person. I mean, I'm more obsessed with this stuff. But yeah, it's a fascinating subject matter.
Yeah, I've learned so much through you, just from picking your brain.
So yeah, what you been up to? I've been just busy, on two pods and stuff, and just watching a lot of horror films.
Oh, no big deal. Just on 2 pods. I see you. Um, Last night I stayed up watching that Karen Reed documentary on Max, which is out of control. It's like a 5-parter and it's so good and I couldn't stop watching it.
Wow, yeah, no, I haven't heard of it. It sounds really interesting, though. I mean, my wife, she's more into that stuff than myself. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I find it fascinating, but she's very almost obsessed. I mean, it's scary. I was reading an article, more like a study or just a commentary, how women more than men are into these murder mystery serial killer kind of shows. It's kind of interesting. I wondered why.
Because it's calming.
Coming.
No, I have this weird theory. Like I said, I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, anything like that. I don't know anything. But I feel like from a young age, we as women kind of, when we go into bars or clubs or parties, we always think the worst case scenario.
Right.
So by watching these, it kind of plays out some of those scenarios, or I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it actually does make sense. But what's scary about that is, I mean, it makes perfect sense because it is a dangerous world, for single women out there. You don't know who you're going out with, what environment you're in, and so who's up to what. But what's scary is that sticks with a woman, and I'm not being sexist or anything, but it evolves and it continues to grow. I mean, for a married woman, I think at that point it becomes like, okay, not just okay, well, what if this guy, is carrying this, or who's this guy? No, it's like, okay, my husband just pissed me off. How can I kill this motherfucker in his sleep? Okay, and get away with it. Okay, there was this one documentary I saw on Netflix. So that's kind of disconcerting. I mean, it's a little scary. So I sleep with one eye open because my wife is very much into those shows.
It's a cautionary tale
It is
that the wife is always right, or else.
Exactly. No, God bless my wife. She's a sweetheart. She would never do anything like that, I hope. Yeah, but no, those are great shows. They're really good. I mean, Netflix has some really good stuff on there, and HBO Max. So guys, HBO Max, Netflix. If you're listening, HBO Max, sponsor Ouch, Was That a Ghost? Be great, be great.
I still can't get over HBO Max because it makes me think it's Cinemax. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe I don't know if they teamed up or they became, merged or whatever, but now it's just Max. They changed it to that, but people still call it HBO Max.
So I got a request to cover Mount Shasta, which I thought was just going to be like, oh, a few ghost stories, blah, blah, blah. But then it goes into like, it seems to be one of the most paranormal places on Earth. You know what I mean? So I was like,
Oh, yeah.
"Yo, come on.
Well, it's referred to by a lot of folks in the field of paranormal as the Skinwalker Ranch of mountains. There's a lot going on up there, and a lot of a lot of mythos and a lot of legends. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And I guess the fact that you have massive lenticular cloud buildups there, that they look like UFOs. People are
Yep.
gonna look up and go, "Oh, it's being, it's a UFO, covered in clouds."
Oh, it's crazy. It is beautiful though.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So much so they made a soda out of it. Oh well, soda named
Oh
Shasta.
my gosh, that's what it's named after? I remember that the hospitals around here used to have that. Like that was they
Yeah,
never had the actual like Pepsi or Coke. It was the Shasta.
yeah, yeah. It was the cheap stuff.
It was gross.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's like the Sanka.
Oh God, that stuff's horrible. Yeah, but yeah, I remember this Shasta sodas that had the little mountain on it and everything. And I was being a movie geek as a kid. I would see the mountain on there. I'm like, is this like Paramount Studio soda? In fact, Mount Shasta is the Paramount logo.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at you with all your little interesting factoids.
Yeah. I may be wrong, and then everybody out there is like, no, Joe's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's another mountain.
Most of this podcast is wrong. It's fine.
There you go.
Mount Shasta is said to have history with human settlements dating back at least 7,000 years. Its close proximity to a semi-active volcano.
Right, right.
The area obviously rich with Native American folklore, reports of UFOs, giants, the disappearance, and the possible existence of a whole ass hidden city.
Right, right.
Mount Shasta is located in California, as are you, lucky you.
Right.
It's part of the Shasta Trinity National Forest, and it's part of the Cascade Range, but it sort of sits apart. Like it looks like it has its own little area. It's like this dominating presence with an elevation of 14,179 at its peak. It's the second highest mountain in the Cascades and the fifth highest in California. And it has been inhabited by various Native American tribes. According to the Native Americans, the mountain is a sacred site. The Klamath tribe lore says that Mount Shasta is home to the spirit of the above world, Skell, and the spirit descended to battle the spirit of the below world. It's LLAO.
Mhm.
Yayo? Leo, maybe?
Yeah.
Who resided on Mount Mazana. And they had this big battle of lava and hot rocks thrown back and forth, according to them, which could have just been like the volcanoes were erupting, or
Right.
who knows?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
But most of
Yeah.
the tribes say that you should not go above the tree line because that area is reserved for the sky people.
Okay.
And in nearby areas, they have thousands of year old petroglyphs that some say depict sky beings. I mean, they could be, maybe not. I don't know. I'm boring because I do like the skeptical thing too.
Well, I mean, UFOs have always been associated with global volcanic activity. I mean, one of the theories is that the extraterrestrial crafts, they use the magnetic energies emanating from the volcanoes to, I guess, to power their crafts or whatever, or something. But yeah, I mean, there's several UFO video captures online where you see an active volcanic eruption, and you'll see like a little blip of light kind of shooting out of it, or just gliding through the eruption, or coming out of the volcano itself.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, they kind of use it as a charging station or whatever. But I mean, because yeah, the magnetic energy and the radiation emanating from these things is immense. It's wild.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, I mean, they doubt this. They say, well, no, I mean, but that's one of the leading theories with the connection of UFOs and volcanoes.
Oh, wow. So in 1904, a British prospector named J.C. Brown, he was a geologist on an expedition, he went into the mountains. And there he claims to have found a covered cave. And curiosity got the best of him. He uncovered the cave and ventured in. It was a tunnel that went on for 11 miles, which how the heck did he know it was 11 miles? But whatever. Deep within the tunnel, he claims that he discovered the remnants of a whole civilization, along with tombs. In the tombs, he said that there were human-looking bodies that were between 7 and 10 feet tall. He counted 27 bodies in total, as well as golden tablets, golden weapons, like abandoned mechanical apparatuses, and these glowing statues. So he covered up the entrance and just went back home.
Wow. Okay.
A young man by the name of Frederick Spencer Oliver. He was born in 1866. So Frederick was out charting the mountains in the area and went into Mount Shasta. While he was doing this, he began seizing, and he already had the paper and pen out because he was charting, writing things down, and something or someone took over him and he just started writing.
Mm.
He went home to his mother. His mother gave him some more paper and he just kept writing. And this kept happening for like years. And when he was done having these seizures and like writing fits, a book was completed. And then within a few years, he died. His mother, years after her son's death, published the book in 1899 titled A Dweller on Two Planets by Philos. Philos was the being that was using Frederick as a conduit to write.
Mm.
And Philos is said to be an advanced being that once lived in Atlantis, which you could chalk up to, okay, the kid's nuts, but in the writing, the technology that he spoke of was way more advanced than anything that was known at the time when he was writing it, like the tunnel system, automatic doors, the city powered by quartz crystals. And in this book, it describes anti-gravity, quantum mechanics, zero-point gravity, and the transportation that these beings used being like cigar-shaped ships for travel, which if you look online, there have been cigar-shaped, that's hard to say, cigar-shaped ships that come out of the mountain. And then James Churchwood published a book titled The Lost Continent of Mu in 1926, where in his preface he says that the book is based on ancient Hindu tablets that he found in India. The book tells of Mu or Lemuria, which they're the same thing, just different names. I don't know why. The lore goes that over 1 million years ago, the world at the time had two groups that were very super advanced, the Atlanteans and the Lemurians. With the Atlanteans having the upper hand, everything was like harmonious until about 250,000 years ago when the Atlanteans had a change of heart and they just wanted to rule everything and everyone. And the Lemurians were like, how about nope? And this big war broke out, but they were technologically advanced. So this wasn't like arrows or like, punching. This was like a nuclear war. And this literally shook the earth, shifting the tectonic plates, resulting in a flood that sunk Atlantis and Mu or Lemuria. And this resulted in millions of deaths on both sides. And the few remaining Atlanteans were said to have fled to Agartha. I don't know if I said that right.
Sounds good to me.
And the few remaining Lemurians fled to Mount Shasta, where they made a new city called Telos.
Yeah, and then it's interesting. I mean, J.C. Brown, he found a hidden tunnel. And 30 years later, he would tell the world, about this story. And, they thought he was just a crazy old man. But in 1934, he put together an expedition to go back and try to find the site again. And he was never heard from again. He disappeared.
How bizarre is that?
But it's interesting. It's really interesting how you talked about that there was a war between the Lemurians and the Atlanteans, and there was like almost like a nuclear war, and they blew each other to shit, and there was tectonic shifts in the earth. There's theories of how there was a tectonic, or with the tectonic shift and so forth, there was a polar shift. So kind of like imagine like the earth is covered with a sheet of skin and you just kind of slide it around. And so what's on top, it's now on the bottom or on the side. There's theories that Antarctica was Atlantis, but with the polar shift, Atlantis, which was probably in the ocean somewhere, like on maybe the western or eastern hemisphere, ended up on the top, which is very cold, and it just iced up. So that's very interesting. How that might have been the case. And in fact, there is the Pee Wee Reese map that shows the Antarctic, but with rivers and lakes and mountain ranges and so forth, and no snow. And this was maybe about 500-600 years ago that this map existed. So who knows?
I always wondered if those old maps that are like that are actually clues or they're just mistakes.
I think that, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't think they would have made shit up back then and say, okay, well, let's throw a continent here. Let's throw an island there. If they put it on there, they must have experienced it. Maybe a mistake. They're like, okay, uh, they found an island here, but really they were on the other side. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, but it's interesting. I mean, the whole Atlantean and Lemuria thing, ancient alien theories, they put out there that, we had alien visitations, and they set up colonies and civilizations out here on Earth. And that's how we became, the advancement of, humanity with technology and science, literature, the ability to write. Because, beyond a certain point in our history as humanity, we have no written history. Written history, what, maybe about 12, 15,000 years ago? And what about before that? And, there's archaeological proof and evidence that shows that from one moment we're hunter gatherers living in caves and in the bushes, and then suddenly we're civilized. We're writing. We're agriculturalists and we're scientists. There was a sudden jump, and mainstream archaeologists and scientists are like, oh no, well, there was obviously some time in between for evolution. But ancient alien theorists, they say no, we were visited and we were given this technology and this knowledge to advance. And we're almost like a petri dish, for aliens, a science experiment,
Hmm.
to see. And that's why we have UFOs, if you go with that logic, floating around, and they don't interact. They're just watching us. And just kind of occasionally they'll pick one of us up in like abductions and say, okay, how are these guys coming along? What, our creation, they poke us and everything. They even tag us. I mean, just like in the wild, you grab a wild boar and you poke and prod it, and you put a little tracking chip in its ear and let it go. And that's what they do to us.
They pull us
Yeah.
for quality control.
Exactly. Okay, this was a reject. I mean,
Yeah, that's why I got sent back. Um, yeah, they say that the Lemurians built like this huge, elaborate tunnel system within the mountain in a whole secret city called Telos. And they're said to actually dwell within. And at times, they're said to surface to gather supplies, which is kind of funny because if they are advanced, they have to come out and run to Target.
Right.
They're they're described as looking very youthful, majestic, tall, around 7 feet, with long hair, fair skin, and some are said to adorn sandals and long white robes. Others have been described as like being jeweled and tattooed, but they are said to be far more advanced than us, having the technology that, as you said, we lost.
Right.
Yeah, but all around Mount Shasta, there are plenty of UFO sightings, some going up and some that appear to enter the side of the mountain through, I guess, hidden entrances
Hmm.
or that appear to go right through rocks. There are also many accounts of disappearances. One of the weirdest ones was when, I don't know if you've heard this one before, a family was camping on the mountain in 2011 when a 3-year-old boy just suddenly vanished. And the family did a quick search and they ended up calling authorities in, rescue personnel. This went on for hours, like 5 hours. And then
Hmm.
suddenly the boy was found in a bush. This was an area that was already checked several times. So, I mean, overall, it was a happy ending. They got to go home.
Hmm.
And some time passed, and the little boy said to his grandmother, I guess they called her Grandma Cappy, that he didn't like the other Grandma Cappy. And she was like, what do you mean? And he was like, oh, when I went missing, Grandma Cappy, the other one, brought me into this cold, dark cave. And in the cave, there were other robots that were like frozen with glowing eyes. And the other Grandma Cappy had light coming out of her head. And when she climbed up this ladder, the grandma looked like a robot. And this is when he knew that this was the other Grandma Cappy. And she proceeded to take out some paper and told him to defecate on it. And when he couldn't, she got annoyed. I know. And eventually brought him back to the bush where he was later found, which maybe she would have chalked up as, childhood fantasy. But I mean, even though the pooping on the paper is kind of weird, but
Right. Well, he was lucky he couldn't poop. I mean, they sent him back. This one's not working. Send it back. It's not pooping. Find somebody who can poop on paper for us. God
On
damn.
command.
On command. Yeah, you have one job. Come on.
But the grandma had been camping there a few weeks prior, and she had a strange experience herself. She went to bed. She woke up outside of her tent, face down, and felt very ill. And then she felt the back of her neck and felt two little, I don't know if you want to call them bites, injection sites,
Mhm.
markings. But it wasn't only her. The person she was camping with also woke up with two whatevers on the back of their neck and also felt ill.
Hmm. Wow, sounds like a case of abduction or group abduction. It's interesting, and that would make sense. I mean, if you're abducting within the same genetic pool, I mean, there's a scientific basis for that. So that's kind of interesting. I've never heard this case. That's a good one.
It's very strange, but it almost sounded like a doppelganger, the way that it was like a copy, but I don't know if UFOs or aliens are known to do that.
That I've never heard of, but you can, if you think about on a psychological level, I mean, they abduct somebody. It's like, okay, let's, make it look like his grandma, so he's a little bit more at ease, so he can poop on a piece of paper. Uh, but,
One
um,
article said on a stick, one said sticky paper, and one said paper. So I was like, oh, I'll just go with paper right down the middle.
right. Well, it's interesting. I mean, Native Americans, they have their lore of the sky people and their history and how they came about. I mean, in Mount Shasta, a lot of the traditions of several Native American tribes, including the Shasta, the Klamath, the Madoc, the Ashwami peoples. They have all these stories of spiritual beings from the sky, and in fact, the natives, they also portray Shasta as a dwelling for the Great Spirit, and a gateway to another dimension. Yeah, it's very interesting. Oh, in fact, another thing. This is interesting. How the Shasta region, is steeped in beliefs about Akshki or pains, which local indigenous communities describe as spiritual entities that manifest as small humans or and animals. And these beings, they reside among boulders, the rapid streams, and so forth. And they're the origin of all illness, misfortune, death, bearing a resemblance to demonic forces that it's described in many Christian faiths. Moreover, the area is rumored to be haunted by the spirits of ancient victims or thought form entities. And it kind of reminds me of Skinwalker Ranch. The Skinwalkers themselves, how they manifest and they form animals and creatures or whatever, or strange beings. So again, that's why usually we have it's referenced as the Skinwalker Ranch of mountains.
Wow, this place has everything.
Yeah, it does. I mean, shit, you even have Bigfoot sightings. There was a famous sighting in 1976. There was a logger from Idaho, and he had a really crazy encounter on Mount Shasta. Him and his buddy Pat Conway, they experienced the event during it was a morning break in their logging work, and they separated, and Conway started to hear noises, and he expected to see like a service worker or what do you call it, a forest, whatever.
Yeah,
What
like
do
a
you call those guys?
ranger or something.
A
Yeah.
ranger, yeah. And instead, he saw a tall, dark figure with a strong odor, kind of like half rotten bear hide.
Hmm.
And so he saw this, and he took off, and that was his Bigfoot experience. Upon this, Conway returned. He went back afterwards, and there was no trace of the creature, only this nasty, nasty smell.
I've seen that they've had multiple sightings there. I saw one in 1850 was a sighting, which is pretty far
Hmm.
back. But the one that's kind of strange to me in 1962, a witness claimed that they saw a female Bigfoot giving birth, which I didn't even know that that was a thing. I mean, obviously they have to reproduce, but
Oh, and they make little Bigfoots or Littlefoots.
but that must have been a scene because, like you said, they are said to have a very pungent odor.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that was like.
Yeah. I mean, overall, it's interesting that in a lot of there's a lot of tales of hidden civilizations and aliens and so forth inside mountains, under the ocean. In fact, at Skinwalker Ranch again, there's this infamous mesa that crafts have actually been seen just entering the mesa on a cliff and then coming out, just disappearing and then popping out on the other side. There's been so they said it's like a portal or something. It's where they hide. It's where they conduct, I think, their experiments and their studies away from prying human eyes. Of our oceans, what 70% of our planet is covered in water, and we've only explored a small percentage of that. So what's down there? Who's down there? And the same with these mountains. I mean, these mountains, we can only go so far into exploring them. There's deep caverns and tunnel systems and so forth. So who's to say there's not these aliens or Bigfoots? And in fact, there's even theories that Bigfoot is an alien, and that's why we don't. People say, "Wow, if he's out there, how come we don't see him? If there's so many of them, how come we don't see them?" Well, they go through portals and they hop on their Bigfoot stinky UFOs.
I wish somebody would go back to Mount Shasta though and just try to find that cave again and get in there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because it's a national park, there's restrictions as far as what you can and cannot do. You can hike it, but you can't go exploring and bring an expedition in. I mean, back then in the early 1900s, 1800s or whatever, you can do those things. You can go uh, dig and make, tunnels and explore. But now that because it's so protected, it's very limited the activity that goes on up there in those kind of places.
They're in cahoots with the Lemurians.
I think so. I mean, there's that whole theory of the U.S. government and world governments in general that they're in they collaborate with the aliens, and it's okay. You can have humans to make poop on paper, and you give us technology. It's a fair trade. Poop on paper versus Velcro and chip technology.
I guess. There was another weird story when I looked into this too. There was this Guy Ballard, that was out on the mountains, and he
Hmm.
claims that he encountered a man that introduced himself as the Count of Saint Germain. And if you know any of the tales of Jacques Saint Germain or the Count of Saint Germain, or he's like this mysterious, wealthy man who appeared in various parts of the 18th century. Everyone that met him said he never aged, he always looked youthful. Some say that he found the secret to immortality. He's been seen in different time periods, but it said that he died in 1784, but people claim to have seen him as recent as the 1970s. A popular theory being that he's a vampire. He was charming, intelligent beyond the age that he looked. He's always known to be about 30s or 40s, and he spoke many languages fluently, played many instruments, and he's known for his abundance of knowledge in science, music, art. So, another theory is that he's an alchemist. So, they can turn base metals into gold, and he may possess the Philosopher's Stone, like the one in Harry Potter,
Right.
that
Mm.
say to give eternal life to its owner. I don't know, but he said to either like have the Philosopher's Stone, immortality, vampire, or just like a master of deception. Either way, his sightings span over century. So this Guy Ballard that ran into him on the mountain, Guy and his wife Edna went on to start the I Am religion that started in the early 1930s. And at one point it had over 1 million followers. And this was all based on what Count Saint Germain told Guy. And although the popularity of the religion did die down after Guy's death, there still are practitioners, and Mount Shasta does still have a reading room for the Saint Germain Foundation.
Wow. Yeah, I heard of the Ballard case. Yeah, that yeah, he was immortal, or at least he seemed immortal. He was youthful. He didn't grow old or anything. Yeah, it's a fascinating case as well. I mean, uh, that he met with the Lemurians, and they pretty much give him a grand tour of the extensive tunnel systems in the mountain, and they gave him knowledge, and they taught him stuff, and yeah, and they give him this mysterious drink that he would stay young.
Oh, that's one of the theories too, that they gave Count Saint Germain a drink?
Yeah, yeah, that it was it was some sort of concoction that would keep him youthful for quite a long time. Uh,
Oh. I only heard about
yeah.
him when I was doing the, New Orleans vampires, because he was mentioned in a few of those things too, and his name seems to keep popping up, so I looked into him a little bit after I saw his name on Mount Shasta. I was like, "What is he doing over
Right.
here when he's supposed to be in New Orleans?"
Right, right. And of course, back then, vampirism and vampires was huge, especially in New Orleans. So they got some dude who's there and he doesn't grow old and they're gonna go, oh, he's a vampire. It's what they the only thing they can associate it with. So most likely he wasn't a vampire. He was just um he drank this mysterious cocktail offered to him by the Lemurians and stayed young for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a crazy place. I mean, throughout the years and years, there's been a lot of disappearances. A lot of people come up missing. And a lot of it is attributed. Keep in mind that we as human beings, so we can't explain it. We're going to give it the the explanation we're going to give it is the incredible. It's something way out there because we just don't know. I mean, we're in the dark, so we're going to give it some sort of fantastical spin on it. And but a lot of these are just simple disappearances. Mount Shasta is huge. What was the elevation like? 13 to 14,000 feet in the air.
Yep.
You go past a certain point, you got altitude sickness, this, thin oxygen, and you can die, and the cold, and then there's the surrounding areas which are forested, and if you're not an experienced hiker or naturalist or whatever, you're going to go missing. And so people go, well, yeah, well, combine that with the fact that there's, you know, aliens and Bigfoots, and Bigfoot ate him and the aliens took him so he can poop on paper. They took him and so forth. But a lot of cases it's just simple, inexperienced hikers disappearing, and just like there was a 69-year-old adventurer from California, Herbert Landers. He went on a climbing expedition back in 1999 and he disappeared. They couldn't find him. There's no trace whatsoever of this guy.
And that was in 1999, you said?
Yeah, 1999. And, one of his companions, before he went missing, they noticed that he was not well. He looked kind of messed up, whatever, that something was wrong with him. And, but come on, the guy was 69 years old. And,
Yeah.
in that rugged terrain, I mean, fuck, I'm not even that age. And I go up there, I'm going to be messed up too. But then again, I'm just in bad shape anyway.
Yeah, that's bizarre. But I definitely agree that a lot of the accidents most likely are just, human error.
Yeah, or human arrogance. Again, I don't know if you've ever been above a certain elevation, but you get up there, you feel like you're dying. The highest elevation I've been up to is about 7,500,
You beat
and
me.
oh, it's horrible. I went to I was on vacation in Mexico City, and that's about an elevation about 7,500. And I felt my chest constricting. I could barely breathe, and so yeah, so I can only imagine being further up, elevation wise. So yeah, I mean, I think that's you know, could there be some mystical kind of explanation or presence on Mount Shasta? Um, the conspiracy theorist in me says yes. I think so. There has to be something up there. But again, a lot of these cases are just mistaken. You see a lenticular cloud, and you go to UFO, and you see a big hairy beast, and it's just your cousin Frank who hasn't shaved, and just wander around in the nude. You don't know. You don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, and you've had enough whiskeys and stuff, and yeah, you're gonna mistake a lot of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the fence with the whole, um, you know, Mount Shasta thing and stuff. But there's definitely a lot there that does make you scratch your head. I mean, and as I've always said, when it comes to the paranormal or ufology and so forth, if there's enough smoke there, there must be some kind of fire. There's something there, and who knows?
Yeah, some of the videos from here are crazy if you see like the cigar-shaped things coming out of there.
Hmm.
And he mentioned that as the mode of transportation in the book back in like the 1800s. But I mean, they could be clouds. I'm not saying like dismissing it, but it's strange how they kind of come up a certain way. And I don't know. The videos and shape shifting things they've had above this mountain are very strange.
Right, right. Well, in ufology, the cigar-shaped UFO is very prominent, even to this day. Pictures and videos. I mean, I think there was, I don't know when, but it was early 1900s or maybe 1911. Fuck, I don't remember. But there was, I don't know if it was Mount Shasta, but there was some guy snapped a picture of something he saw in the sky, and it looked like a giant cigar. So it goes way back, the cigar-shaped UFO.
See, that's why you're on here all the time, because I don't know any of this. I'm a novice at
um,
this ufology.
I'm telling you, once you get into it, it's a rabbit hole and a half.
Yeah, I always just thought aliens, yeah, right. And now, since I started the podcast and hearing from different people and looking into different things, I'm like, maybe. You get me on the fence.
Well, again, I mean, you get the subject matter of UFOs 20, 30 years ago, and it was laughable, or people didn't take it serious, or, if it was reported on mainstream media, it was always kind of like, oh, yeah, there was a sighting, wink, wink. It was a joke. But now you have the congressional hearings. You got government officials coming out talking about this. The U.S. government is actually openly admitting to the fact that, well, we're not going to call them aliens, but there's something out there, and we don't know what the hell they are. And so a lot of skeptics that I've heard, other podcasts or personal, people that I've talked to, they come around to thinking, well, maybe there's something to this. And because of the evidence coming out from, through official channels.
Yeah, this is like a bizarre place, though. I definitely do want to go at some point in my life, and I'll go searching for the cave.
There you go. There you go. And if you see some strange looking 11-foot tall people, pale in skin and very youthful and stuff and glowing, and they're carrying around a piece of paper, go the other way.
Got it.
Turn around, walk away, and they kind of have the paper shoving towards you. Hey, here's paper. Here's paper. Just run.
Run from the paper. I like it.
There you go.
But people still do flock to the area. But if you do, remember, do not go above the tree line. That's reserved for the sky people. If you guys want to hear more Joe, you can check him out on the Film Joe podcast and on Fear on Film podcast. I'll throw his links in the description below.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joe, for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's always great to be on. It really is. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you for listening. If you need more content or just want to help support the podcast, head on over to patreon.com and search Ouch, Was That a Ghost? If you need some snazzy merch, you can find it at crowdmade.com by searching Ouch, Was That a Ghost? If you have a story you'd like to share, you can email it to ouchwasthataghost@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and all the other social media platforms under Ouch, Was That a Ghost?
Help me.
All links can also be found on ouchwasthataghost.com.